My bad. What's today? Today is Wednesday. Sorry, just trying to get my brain on the same wavelength as everything that we're doing right now. What's up, Exegete? Congratulations on being #1 in the chat. You're first. I got to check on Penguin Airlines. You've been slacking, Penguin. I guess, it's been some time. You're losing your top spot if you're on. What's up, Shrey Ghoul? How you doing? What's up, Josta? Good to see you. MB, welcome. You did make it like you said. You said you'd be on live today. Welcome. So, we've made it to part 3 of 3 for our Get Masterclass. Tonight should be pretty it should be pretty chill. I hope tonight's gonna be the stuff that usually scares people the most. Merging was the first thing. We'll talk about merging more and more tonight because super important. But tonight is gonna be the things that really scare people. It's gonna be how do we get out of how do we get out of our mistakes? What tools can we use to get out of our mistakes? But also, how can we there's also tools for being able to begin to recombine branches and things together. Today we'll talk about it. We'll talk about why we want to do some of these things. We'll just have, today will be a time for some conversation, so ask as many questions as you do have. I'm not gonna have all the answers, but it's a good time for us to to talk about these things. What's up, Sin City? Question on upcoming interview. You made a change to your Git directory, but you haven't committed the changes. How do you undo the changes? Tonight is exactly how we will do that. That is a good question. Keep that in mind. The answer for that is actually not a revert. It's actually a reset, because to your Git directory, it's a reset. We'll talk about what that is. It'll make more sense just in a few minutes for sure. Merging versus rebasing, exactly. That's what we're going to talk about. It, when to use it, why you would want to use it, what exactly is happening when these things are going on. And merging is nerve-wracking. It really is. It's the reason why Git is scary. It really is the reason why Git is scary. A Sweet Scorpio, thank you so much for the tier 1 sub. 2 months. That's love right there. I appreciate it. Push to the wrong branch once and fix the mistake was such a headache. Yeah. What exactly? So the normal Git workflow is usually pretty comfortable, and it's usually one that people can work through effectively and feel good about it. It's when you make a mistake, and it's not even when you make a mistake. It's when you do something that is outside of whatever workflow was set up, and you need to fix said issue. Git can be super problematic. I mean, when you're talking about the recorded history, when you're talking about writing down the history of the changes that are made, it can be pretty tough to get out of that hard written history. Nobody, thank you so much for continuing that gifted sub. That's love right there. All right, so let me go ahead and update the slides real quick with the new set. Let's get the drive going. We do have part 3 here, and it should be, I'm pretty sure I combined it. Let me change it from day 3 of 6 to 3 of 3, and we'll just switch it back and forth as we need to. I probably should just copy the whole set. And let's get the link here. Copy link, anyone with a link. Done. Commands. Come on, let's get our typing. Let's get our typing down. Also, what's up, the franchise? Welcome to the channel. Thank you for the follow. MVN CO. Well, welcome to the channel. It's good to have you. Let's edit this. Exclamation point slides. All right, exclamation point slides will now give you what you got. MB, thank you so much for the tier 1 sub. Y'all starting off the stream with the hype train. I appreciate it. Thank you so much for the support, for the love. I do really appreciate it. Okay, so go ahead and hit that exclamation point slides so you can get the slides and we can talk about these things. We're gonna take it, hopefully, we're not gonna rush through these things because these, again, I think these are the most confusing pieces of Git. The basic workflow is fine. We know that Git is tracking the history, and we understand how we can change the history, by staging our file, making changes, staging the files, and then making a point in time snapshot of where things are at. Let's talk about the fun stuff. Maybe the baby will come out to be the sooner now. Yeah, I mean, maybe we will see. We'll see. I'm still betting on a Sunday birth. You know, it's my birthday. You know, what could I ever expect as a better gift? You know, say to share your birthday with your little one. That would be great. I would love it. And honestly, now that I am about to have a baby, this is the first time my adulting mug feels like it fits. I haven't felt like an adult until now, I guess. So you know, it is what it is. I'm getting, you know, I was getting prepared first, but I think now that it's like, now that the time has come, like we're in the heat of the moment, like I'm much more excited than I expected. Like I'm like giddy. It's almost like Christmas Day. It's like, you know, let's get this going. I understand, you know, I'll be struggling with a bit of sleep and you know, trying to figure out what's going on and learning how to deal with life with this new person in the house. But I think it should be pretty fun. I'm pretty excited about it. All right, we finally made it. Day 3 of 3 of tracks that get masterclass. Let's talk about what we're going to talk about today. We're going to go over reverting, resetting, and the big one out of these is rebasing. This is a big concept, so we'll go over that. We'll talk about cherry picking. We'll talk about how you resolve conflicts. And actually, we've already talked about resolving conflicts, so we probably won't spend any extra time talking about merging. Maybe we'll touch on a 3-way merge. And we're also going to talk about stashing. And what's not listed here is we're also going to talk about Git workflow, so that you're familiar with different ways that people might create a Git workflow, because we've talked about it a few times. I keep throwing it out there, you know, things that go against the workflow and, you know, workflows that I like. We'll introduce you to some of the different workflows and different ways that you can move your code to be able to track it properly. We'll talk about the different ways that people do that stuff, just so you're familiar, and then you'll be good to go. You'll have more than enough to work with. Honestly, you probably know more than a lot of your peers in the industry. A lot of people don't get to dive super deep into Git. They use the basics of the tools, and because you only need to use the fancy stuff to kind of get out of situations, usually a lot of people don't get to use them often and don't learn about them until they need to learn about them. And it's kind of like, hey, you know, I've Googled it, I've done it, but I don't really know what happened. So you'll definitely get in there. Squashing, we'll talk about squashing today. That's part of the resolving conflict section. We didn't go over conflict with squashing with the merging before, but that's absolutely something we will talk about. I'm good. Well, Azimuth, I'm good. I can't complain at all. Not even a little bit. You know, just out here trying to be the best me I can be. That's all. All right, so let's get straight into it with the 3 R's: reverting, resetting, and rebasing. Okay. We need to be specific about what we're hearing here, and we're going to hop right into some code, and we are going to do it ourselves so that it makes the most sense. But revert, Git revert, what does it do? It creates a brand new commit. That's the first thing you should know. When you want to roll something back, it creates a brand new commit that does the exact opposite of the commit that you would like to undo, or the commit that you would like to revert. Okay, this command is how you roll back a commit. If you've committed something and you don't want it, you don't want those changes there anymore, you didn't mean to do that, or it was a mistake, revert is how you do that. Yeah, sure. So it's not an uncommit. Let's be clear here. It is not an uncommit. It creates a brand new commit. It actually creates an additional commit. So this does not change. This does not alter. Let me say that. It does not alter the history. The history of what happened still exists. All right. Everything that happened historically still happened. This simply takes the patch that was there, and it creates a patch that does the exact opposite of what the original patch did, and it applies a new commit. So it does update the history, but it does not alter the history that already exists. It's Jay Fields. Thank you so much for pushing the hype train over. I appreciate it. That's love right there. 5 gifted subs. Everyone, please thank your gifter. Everyone who received it. Pones in. Congratulations, Bridler. Congratulations, Shrek. Kish Kuman, welcome. You know, it's good to have you all. Bulgarian Feta, please thank your gifter. That's love right there. Use those emotes now that you have access to them, and really, really just take it in every time you join in, and you're not met with a 30-second advertisement. I want you to think about It's Jay Fields. Also, go follow It's Jay Fields, who does some streaming here, plays some games, does some stuff in the science and technology section as well. You know, on here all the time, doing all kinds of fun stuff. We got to get together and have some fun soon, man. We gotta do something. Let me give you a shout out. I appreciate it. There we go. All right. So you guys got that? Take that in. Revert. It is kind of an uncommit. It's kind of, let me remove what I've done, but it does not change the history. The history still exists as it is. It just creates a commit that does the exact opposite of what the commit you want to revert does. All right. So if you added 3 lines of code, and that's what the patch said to do, this commit will remove those same 3 lines of code, which is helpful. Yes, going backwards by going forwards. 100% straight goal. That's exactly what it is. It's you're going backwards by moving forward. You always fall forward here. This also only works, well, not only works, but this is for removing something that has been pushed to the remote though. This is what you would use once something has already been pushed to your remote. This is what you would use. You use revert for these things. Okay, you could use it anytime, but that is when you would likely want to use this. If you have not pushed to the remote yet, there are other options. This still works, but there are other options if you have not pushed to remote. So let's see revert in action, and let's get logged in and let's see revert in action. I'm gonna open up VS Code. Yes, correct. Remote as in GitHub. So if you've already pushed it to GitHub, if it's already been pushed to GitHub or GitLab or whatever you're using, yes, correct. That is when you would use revert. Like I said, you can get out of it. You can get out of it in other ways if you have not yet pushed it. Yeah, let's get good, Rimshot. I like that. I like that. Okay, so this is what we were messing with yesterday. Let's get into the right directory first. And by right directory, I mean I'm probably just going to go back to the original one that we were working out of. But you can use whatever like you can use anything that's already Git repository. Use it. You can create your own Git repository. The problem with that is that you're gonna have to make your own commits. But try to use maybe use the directory that we've already been messing around with if you have that locally. Or use literally any Git repository would be fine, but preferably one that you can push to. So what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna open this up in VS Code, code-r, and let's get that opened up here, and we can get going. What's up, Hadrian? Welcome to the channel. It's good to see you. Thank you so much for the follow. All right, so we got all this, all this random stuff, the amazing title, the gibberish, the button that we added in, and we also have the amazing ASCII art that was put in as a pull request. So let's open up our command line and let's just do a git status to make sure we're good to go. And the first thing that you kind of always want to do is just do a git pull, make sure you have all updates, make sure everything's here, everything's available. Cool. So reverting, I'm gonna do a git log real quick. Let's say a bunch of stuff is in here and I just, I didn't know the ASCII art was gonna get put in here. And so like what I really wanna do is I wanna make the ASCII art a button. That's my plans later, but I wanna remove the button. The button was added, but I wanna remove the button. Well, maybe, let me check which commit that was. Was the button last? Let's actually do the one below that. Let's say we wanna remove the title, not the button. Let's say we wanna remove the title. Okay, we don't want this in here anymore. We want to get rid of it and we just don't want it to be there. So you could easily have someone go in and remove the title and make a brand new commit. But maybe there was a bunch of stuff in there. Maybe you just, that's not what you want to do. You want to easily get all of it at once because it's not such a simple change. So the way that we would do this is using the git revert command. All right, and so I'm gonna do a git revert -- help really quick, just so that you can see some of the options that you have, because there are other flags and things that you can pass in. Right now, we're gonna keep it as simple as possible. But with git revert, you can get into a place, resume when you're cherry picking more than one thing. We're gonna talk about cherry picking in 1 second. You have some options here to modify what happens when you run this, but no big deal. What we can do, let me make this all, yeah, there we go. So we're gonna get log again. We want to remove the title. So this commit right here, the way that we do this is we'll copy the commit hash. Remember, this commit ID is unique. It always will refer to, like, it always will be unique. So, this points to one specific thing. And so what we can do now that we have it is we can simply do a get revert and we paste this in here, okay? When we do this, is a merge with no M option was given. So because this was actually a merge, I have to give it an additional parameter because this was a merge commit. And let's look back at it. You can see here that this was a merge commit. I think you just got to give it a -m for this. So get revert -m. I think it's all I need. Error mainline expects a number greater than 0. Hold on, what did I give it? Like and see, this is one of those things where you don't do it all the time. So I don't remember how to do it with a merge commit. Let's see. Oh, parent number, mainline parent number. Usually you cannot revert a merge because you don't know which side of the merge should be considered the mainline. This is great. This is excellent. We should talk about this. The reason why it's giving me heck. It's giving me heck about this commit is that because this was a merge commit, this means we took 2 branches and we folded the history on top of each other, okay? That's what happened. What it's saying here is, hey, like, I don't know, I can't undo this because I don't know which side was the main line. I don't know which stuff was to pull out because it was kind of put together in one merge and kind of we made a commit out of this. I don't know which changes, even though I know about the changes, I don't know which change was the one from the side that we want to keep. And so I've got to give it that starting from 1, this option specifies the parent, starting from 1 of the main line and allows the revert to reverse. The change is relative to the specified parent. Reverting a merge commit declares you want, okay. So I guess I got to give it a number. I actually don't know. This is good. I actually don't know what, starting from 1. So I'm assuming, I'm gonna throw in a 1 in there and let's see what happens. I'm assuming that 1 is the thing that was merged into and 2 was the thing that was merged from, I guess, but we'll check that out in a second. When you do that, so this effectively has worked. What it's doing right now is it is dropping me into an interactive editor for the actual commit now. It is going to create a commit. Remember, if we go back to the slides, it creates a brand new commit. And that's actually what's happening here. There's other times you'll run into this, which is an interactive commit. And so it's gonna allow us to change the commit message. This is a commit message right up here. I could change this message right up top. This first line, I could change it right up top. It opened up for me in Nano because that is what the editor is set to in my command line. If you wanna know how to change that, again, follow the Linux stuff that we're doing tomorrow, Friday and Saturday. But excuse me. But yes, we can revert this actual commit here, and all we got to do is just save it. It sets it up for you. It's actually, that's a good commit message actually, and it's usually what you want. So to get out of this in Nano, I just hit Control X, and you can see here that it actually did. It did that. It changed 1 file. It deleted 4 lines. Okay, and now we can look in here, and we can see code.txt is not saved because watch this. If I do a get status, now we've made a commit. So we've changed the history. Every time you make a commit, you've now created a new point in time in the history. So if I do a get log, now this is here and it reverts this commit, reversing changes made to this commit. And so it gives us that information, really helps us out, understand what's happening here. And now I can push this information up. And if you look at this, look at the file, take a look at it. The top lines are gone. Okay. So we reverted the top level that looked like this, but it said it was a title. That's gone from the top of this file. And if we want to keep that, then it is now in our local. We would have to push it to our remote. So we could do, a git push, and now this would update main with our changes. And now the history shows that we've done a revert. Okay, so we've reverted a commit. And again, it's moving backwards by going forwards. It is creating a commit, a brand new point in history that with a patch that just undoes what you did previously. Be careful with this. Well, I won't say be careful with this. Reverting is not that much of a problem because you can revert or revert. That works. But yes, they can cause mayhem if you are unfamiliar with the changes, like truly unfamiliar with the changes that were made. I agree. Rebasing is likely the better option. I almost never revert. Almost never. The only times I revert personally are when the changes in a commit have been massive. If the changes in the commit have been massive, I do it. So, and this also has to do with your workflow. It's going to come back to us in a second because because we merged in like that. We could have had a bunch of changes all together. We're gonna talk about squashing in a little bit. We could have had a bunch of changes that were kind of stuck into one. I would use it in that case because there are a lot of changes. I only use revert when there are tons of changes. If there aren't tons of changes, if the changes I need to make are relatively small, maybe a couple files, couple lines, I will actually move forward in the process rather than taking stuff out. I will, instead of reverting, I will go make those changes. I will create a new branch, make those changes manually, and get that merged in. That is my preferred method of doing things. I think it follows an iterative pattern a little bit better. And I think it's easier to follow from someone looking at the history personally. Okay. But it is, it is what it is. Okay. So revert allows you to do that. You can also do, I think someone threw it out there. Hadrian threw it out there. I also don't do this, but I think you can do, which side is it on? Head, number, and I can go back. I can revert everything back to, I don't like doing this personally. So what is this command doing? It allows you to revert. So I'm just going to make a new commit. In the head, so if I do a git log, or I just show you guys ref log. There's a ref log, which is a reference log. We talked about refs being pointers to objects here. I can actually move it back. You can see this is head 0. This is where we're at right now. Head 0, that's the index 0. That's the one that we're on now. If I wanted to go back, revert back to 2 commits ago, I could go back to here by simply, doing that tilde and telling it, hey, I want to go back to head index spots. That can help. I wouldn't worry about that too much right now. This is what it looks like. We're going to use the head a little bit in the reset in a second, but that is a way that you can do if you want to revert everything. If you want to take everything back, this works as well. Or you can only pull out a specific thing. That does in fact work. I also think, is it revert or reset? No, reset's a little bit different. If you do this though, it will do, like, let's say I did 5. Let's say I want to go back 5. I'm pretty sure, be careful with this, that it's not going to only do revert the 5th commit. Okay, if I do that ref log again, or git log, it's going to do all 5. It's going to basically revert all 5 rather than just make a commit for the 5th one that reverses the 5th one. It's going to make a commit that reverses all 5 of those. I'm pretty sure. So just be careful with that as well if you are going to use the head tilde thing. But like I said, I don't revert almost ever. And again, this only needs to be done. You do not have to revert if you have not pushed to the remote. So if you have not pushed to GitHub yet, if the changes are still local, even if you committed, you don't have to revert. Okay. Yeah, you don't have to revert, but it's still fine. It is fine to do, but you don't have to. There are other options. And so let's talk about those other options. And by those other options, I mean one other option. So revert, create a new commit that does the opposite of what the commit is that you want to undo. Reset, on the other hand, reset is where you, this is how you can roll back commits that were made locally, okay? And this is something that you probably, I use reset a lot more. Yeah, I use reset a lot more. Reset is pretty helpful. So reset can roll back commits made locally. Reset, it does change the repo's history log. It does modify the history. Revert does not modify the history. Revert appends to the history. Reset does change the history, okay? It does modify your local Git history. So that's really good to know. Those two things are really good to know. One does not modify the history. One doesn't modify the history. It adds to it. This actually, reset actually modifies the history. And then there are a couple of different types of resets. It's more than just doing the thing. There's a soft reset, a mixed reset, and a hard reset. And we're about to look at all three of those. What's up, Digital Byte? Welcome to the channel. Thank you so much for the Twitch Prime sub. That's love right there. Thank you very much. Also, what's up, Cheese Lover? Welcome. Sorry I missed your follow. Good to have you. What do you mean by local? Good question. And this term is a little bit bigger than Git itself. But when people are talking about local, your local machine, they're talking about the system that you're on right now. So it's wherever you're doing the development, wherever you're dealing with Git, that actual machine locally. Remote is the one that you're connecting to. Local is the one that you're actually working on. So if you've made changes to the history, if I've gone through and I've made some changes, so let's go ahead in here and let me just add a file. Let's code-r test.txt, and up here I want to say hello in here, and we have a brand new file. Y'all know I can't type. We have a brand new file here, okay? And I do a git status. I've made a local change. I've made a change to my local Git repository. All right, so here's I made a change to my local Git repository. One, let's look at the Git reset options really quick, and we'll take this change that I made and we'll go through the different resets. Reset -- help. So what it does is it resets the current head to the specified state. Head again is the top, is the number one index. Well, it can be any of the index, but it's the pointer to the top index of the current branch. Okay. All this does is it resets the head. All right. If you are a programmer and you're familiar with linked lists, this should sound familiar to you, because again, this is more of like a tree structure rather than a linked list. But linked lists, you can make trees out of linked lists, you know this. But all we're doing is changing the pointer to what the front of this branch is. So if currently the top level of this branch is this commit, the latest commit is, you know, the head is up here, and we want to reset back to something a little bit lower, we're just changing the pointer. Yeah, we're just changing the pointer to where that thing is. And I'm going to draw it out in a second and kind of show you what that is. But this is what I want you to know about this. There are three different options, okay? There's a soft reset. It says it does not touch the index file or the working tree at all, okay? But it resets the head commit. This leaves all of your change files, change to be committed, as git status will put in. So what soft reset does is it backs out, it does not modify. If you wanted to reverse on the back, it won't modify your working tree. Remember, working tree are the files that you have checked out that you're working on currently. It will not mess with those. Why would you want it to not mess with those files? You're saying, hey, I want to do a reset. Why wouldn't you want it to completely reset your working files? The biggest reason is because those files likely have changes in there that you don't want to lose. You don't want to completely lose them. Maybe you want to modify them, but maybe you do want to lose them. It won't do that. It also won't completely change the index of the actual commit. the pointer of the actual commit. And so it'll leave staged things staged, I believe. It'll still leave them staged. And we're gonna go through this so you can see it in action, because it is confusing when you're using words with it. It makes a lot more sense once we get in and do it. Mixed, on the other hand, it resets the index but not the working tree. So again, it doesn't modify the files that you're working in right now, but it does change the pointer for the Git repository. It changes the head here, and I think that will unstage everything. And then hard reset actually resets everything. It resets your working tree, it resets the pointer. It does a complete reset to whatever commit that you want to reset back to. And again, this hard resets can be very dangerous, but they can also be used to wipe away, you know, maybe you made tons of changes that you no longer need, you were working on the wrong thing, whatever. You can reset completely if you're kind of confused about something. Again, if you are doing a hard reset, you probably have done something wrong elsewhere. I wouldn't rely on hard resets. You should kind of almost never hard reset, in my opinion. Just again, in my opinion. But let's see what these different resets look like. Okay. So right now, I have created a file. I'm gonna do a git status. I'm gonna create a brand new. I'm actually gonna create a commit for this. Okay. So I'm gonna do a git. Commit dash, was it am, this is an update. Whoops, oh, it's a brand new file. I can't do that. Git add. I'm just gonna make a commit really quick for this. So I've made these locally, and remember, reset is for local. It's for local files. And check this out. I'm gonna do a git status. All right. It says, hey, your branch is ahead. You know, you can push if you want to update things. I'm gonna do a git log dash one line, just so not a ton of output. Okay, so you know, I made this update. I did not. Let's say I accidentally added files I didn't mean to commit. Maybe I never wanted to commit this test.txt file. It was something I was using to test everything out. I never meant to commit it. I did it on accident. I noticed it after I committed. You know, that kind of sucks. So what I can do is I can reset back to here, and oftentimes, I would say more often than reverting, you probably want to use the you would use the head not multiplier, but the head selector for the number of commits you would like to go back. So if I want to do I think git reset head by default will, I believe it will mix reset. Someone correct me if I'm wrong. I think it will mix reset by default, and I should probably go back and look. We can check and see which one it does by default. I think it will mix reset by default back one, I think, by default. So I think this is the same thing as doing this right here. But again, all this is gonna do is take it back one. So I'm gonna first do a soft reset, okay? I'm gonna do a soft reset. Yeah, I think it needs to be after this. So git reset dash soft head tilde one, okay? And when I do this, I'm gonna do the same git log, okay? Look at the git log. All right, did it change at all? Whoops, first it was at, this is an update. Where's it at now? Now it has gone back to the revert, okay? So it's actually at this one now. It did in fact go back one, and it actually shows no indication of the next commit, okay? If I do a git status, take a look at that. The file is not only still there, it is still staged, ready to be committed. So a soft reset will essentially take you back a step, and so it will not mess with the file. It will not remove the file at all, because it won't touch the working tree. And it also will only update the pointer. It only updates the pointer for the commit, for the head. It does not remove the internal pointer for this file. So it's still here, and it's actually still staged. So if I wanted to commit, all I would need to do now is to do a commit. So this is kind of the quickest way. A soft reset is kind of the quickest way to maybe you meant to commit the file. Maybe I meant to commit this test.txt file, but it did not have what I wanted in it. Now, if you're trying to be thoughtful about your commits, if you don't want a long commit history, if you don't want a very long commit history, I understand doing this. You reset, and I make another change. And so, my name is Aaron. Okay, so I meant to put that in there, but I forgot to put that in there before. Now I can commit again. It's already here, but now I have to, I still have to do the same stuff. So if I do a get status, it's gonna show that it's been modified. So I'm gonna have to add it again. And then I'm gonna have to do a commit -m. I'm gonna say soft reset so we know what this one was. And cool. So I've now changed the history again. And that was my, wait, let me do the one line. My soft reset, again, took me back a step. It did not remove the staged file. It did not delete the file itself. It's still there. It's still ready for me to do some work to, but it removes the commit. It reverts, it resets the committed. It pulled that off of the log. So that original commit is no longer there. That original commit was called, this is an update. It modified this history, okay? It completely blew this away. But when it blew this away, when it blew away that commit, it didn't get rid of the files and everything. It just, it left us with the remnants so that we could work with them still. But it did remove the actual like historical written item. So that's what a soft reset does, okay? What does a mixed reset do? A mixed reset, on the other hand, will, and like I said, I think by default, it I think by default it does mixed, pretty sure. But I'm gonna be explicit about it so you can see what I'm doing here. If I do a mixed reset and I do a get status after this, notice how it's not green anymore. Okay, so not only did it remove the last commit, and it completely wiped that from its logs, and it started to reset the, roll back those patches. It also untracked this file. It's no longer staged and ready to go. A mixed reset will make it so that it's no longer staged, and you can do whatever you want with it. So like I said, I think it does this by default. So in the previous example, when I wanted to make an update to that file, a mixed reset will probably work best, because then you don't need to, you won't need to do you have to do the same workflow anyway, but it's the same exact thing. It's just unstaged by default. So I could make changes, I could add it, I could completely remove it if I would like, but the soft reset still leaves those files staged and ready to go. Mixed will not, will unstage all the files, but it'll leave the file intact. So the file is still here, and it still has all the information in it that we care about. It did not change the working tree. It didn't do anything to the working tree. All right, it's just not, it set it back to how it's set on your computer. It left it how it's set up on your computer, but it changed the Git workflow, okay? And then the last one you want to be careful about is the hard reset, because not only will it change the history, it will also change the actual working tree. So it'll actually remove your changes. It'll remove the code, it'll remove files, it'll do all that. So be careful with that. Yep, local equals your own computer, and remote is where the Git repo is stored remotely. So it's GitHub in this case. What's up, Hidden Knuckles? Good to see you. What's up, 425 Show? Say you accidentally checked in a password. Which reset would you do? Good question. If you accidentally checked in a password, again, and it's still local, likely what you could use any of them, but what you would like, if you made other changes besides just, if your only change made was putting in the password, then you could probably hard reset if you wanted to. But again, I like to stay away from hard resets. Either of the other two resets would work. A simple Git reset that would do a mixed reset would work. It would it would remove the commit that you did. It would still leave the file in place, but you would have to change. You would have to go in and still manually remove that password though. You'd have to change it. You have to update it, and then recommit everything that you need to commit. Any of them will work for you, but the hard, like really soft and mixed, for the most part, I think you can use them interchangeably. I don't think there's any scenario where one is like that much better than the other. Maybe there is. If there is, let me know. I can't think of a situation where like I usually will just use mix reset. I've heard a lot of people don't like mix reset. I like to use mix reset. Because it's by default. But hard reset is a scary one because it will change everything. So what we're gonna do is we are going to add this again. And that was the mix reset. Okay. Let's clear this out. Now we're gonna move on to the hard resets. Yes, git reset dash hard. That's perfect, Summersoft. Git reset hard is basically deleting the repository and recloning it. That is exactly what that is basically what it is. But yeah, what about the git commit history? So in any situation with the reset, the history, as soon as you do that reset, it removes that latest commit, or all commits forever how far you go back. It removes that from the history, period, on all three of them. All three of them removes it. Okay. So, that, like, none of, I don't know. Yeah, I don't see, there's no difference. There's no difference in the history changes. The difference is in what you can do after the change, after you've reverted it. But they all make the same changes to the git history. What color theme am I using? First off, what's up, Phil? The dev, welcome. I am using Legendary Dark. Legendary Dark is the theme that I'm using, and I found it on stream and I've been using it ever since. I like it a lot. I really do like it a lot. I'm usually more of a Monokai Pro fan. I like the Monokai color schemes, but Legendary Dark is what I'm currently using. It's going good though. It's going great. Can't complain at all. So let's do the hard reset. If I do a git log again, one line, I can see here I had the mix reset here. I have all this other stuff. I'm only going back. This is me only going back one. I'm gonna git reset hard. Dash hard. And when I do dash hard, I'm gonna do head tilde 1. Be very careful with this. And let me click this over here. And when I hit that, notice immediately it said my test.txt file was deleted. Okay. It removed it from it's gone. It's gone. Like, yeah, it's still open in the editor, because that's just the way that VS Code works. It's still loaded into the buffer. But this file's gone. It's gone from the repo. Okay. If I do an LL here, that file is gone. Completely gone. If I do a git log, it reset to how the repo was at this commit completely. All right. That is why it's dangerous, because it actually modifies the working tree. So here's a big problem. This is why I see people do this all the time. You've made a bunch of changes. You know, you've been working on something for a long time, and you know, you've gone through and you've built out a brand new piece of functionality, and you committed it and you realize that there was a mistake after you've committed it. You haven't pushed it yet. And if you go ahead and you do that git reset dash hard, it will completely remove all of your code. If you do either of the other two, the only difference between the other two is whether or not it'll be staged when it reverts. Your files will be staged, but your code will still be in the file. If you just need to modify code, your code will remain there and you can make your changes. You didn't lose any of your work. But doing a hard reset does, in fact, you lose everything. All right, and it's super trash. It's not super trash. It is just, be careful, because I've done it on accident and I've been really sad about it. So, you know, it is what it is. Let's see. I use my fave. You know what? I'm a big fan of color schemes. I don't even know what that is. I think I've seen it before. Extension IU. Let's check this out. But simple, bright, and elegant. Are all the IU themes light? I can't do light color schemes. I can't do it. But I see a dark one here. Okay. Let's use IU for a little bit. I'm gonna see if I like it. Okay. Let's see. Because of this, now we've got to actually put some code in here so I can see. It does feel too, I agree. It feels a little too dark, to be honest. But you know, let's hold on. Let's see what it looks like when we're actually writing code. I like that. That actually looks kind of good. I'm cool with this. Hold on, -R. You know, let's do app.py or something. Let's do Python and not Go. This is our app. Let's see. Let's see what the different things are. Def and say we're cool. All right, it's gonna take nothing, and all it's gonna do is return you're cool. Whatever. And then we're gonna call it down here. I just want to see what the different pieces are. Now we call this. I want to see what the colors look like. Okay, I'm okay with this. I am actually okay with this. You know, I had to see what some of the stuff was in here. You know what? Hold on. I gotta see. Okay, this is I like it. What if I do X? Okay, all right. I like the blue there. Okay, I like this. That the blue really set it off for me just now. I'm gonna try with this. I'm gonna mess around with this for a little while. Crazy for Pie, welcome to the channel. Thank you so much for the raid. Good to have you. First off, shout out. First off, your name has different stuff all over the place. I'm a bad typist, so it's gonna take me a little bit longer to type it out. Let me give you a shout out. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. I hope you had a great stream today. Welcome. We are just learning a little bit about Git. We're doing this is the part 3 of a Git masterclass. We're just diving into understanding Git concepts right now. We're learning about resetting. We just learned about the 3, soft reset, mixed reset, hard reset, and we're having a good time. And just now, we were just told about a brand new, not brand new, but a different color scheme. We test out color schemes all the time. And, just trying it out. I never used IU before. I am going to have to go back to, I'm gonna go back to Monokai for a little bit. I'm gonna go back to Monokai Pro for just a little bit. It's been a while. We're gonna go back to Monokai for just a little bit. How do we do this? Control KT. We'll hit Monokai Pro for just a little bit. I think Ristretto is the one that I really liked, but I'm just gonna go back to Monokai Pro. And look at that. Look at those colors. They're so good. They're so beautiful. I miss this. I miss this a lot. I'm not gonna lie to you. Okay. Cool. So now that we've talked about color schemes too much, again, just a review of those two things. How do you change commits that have already been made? If the change has already been pushed, reverting is what you have to do. You can't reset. You cannot reset for things that have already been pushed. Well, so you can actually do that. The problem is if you reset locally, let's say you've already pushed your stuff up, and then you reset locally. The problem is when you go to push again, you will have to force push. Because it's going to give you a conflict error. It's going to say, hey, my history has commits that your history does not have in it, and I don't know what you're referencing. I don't understand what you're saying to me. So force pushing is bad. You shouldn't do it unless you absolutely must. I'm going to show you a time today when you must, when you might have to. But try not to force push. Use revert if you've already pushed your changes. But if you have not yet pushed your changes, if everything was done locally, you can use reset. And we did this with one we did this with one commit. You can do it with multiple commits. So if I wanted to, reset multiple commits, again, all you got to do is change this number. If you're unsure how many you want to go back, again, just go up and count down. Say, I want to get rid of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's say I want to get rid of 5 of these. Okay, I'm going to reset all the way back to added button. Okay, instead of added button. So I'm gonna reset. I'm gonna reset hard for 5. And check that out. And if I do another git log, oh, whoops, I did one too many. Sorry, I counted the wrong. Actually, hold on. Added brand new file. Where's this at? Did I go down too many? 1, 2, 3, 4. Add a new file. Hold on. Where are we? What just happened? I don't know. Which commit is this? 554C. Oh, add a brand new file. Okay, I miscounted that. I just miscounted it. Why? 1, 2. Oh, because of the I was counting. Okay, got it. Because of the merges. Got it. I messed that one up, but it's okay. But that's how you go back multiple ones. But again, be careful. There's I don't think in reset, I don't think there's any way to reset a single item. I think that it will you can only reset a series. I'm pretty sure. We can try it out in a second, but I don't think you can reset a specific commit that wasn't the last commit. I think you have to reset kind of in order from the top, and it's going to do the series of them back however far you want to go. So, you just use it as you would. If you need to do a specific one, that is what revert is for. Can you come back from a reset? Not that I know of, no. So you definitely can't come back from a reset hard. The other two, because it leaves your files in place, you can go, you're free to make a new commit. I don't think that you can, I don't know of a way to come back from a reset, personally. I don't think you can. And so be careful with that. But again, as long as you don't do a hard reset, your files are still there. So all you got to do is do the commit again. Just make another commit. Just make your changes, make a commit. Even if you accidentally did it and you say, oh, I actually needed what I needed, just commit again, because your files and your changes are still there. Is it easy to integrate Git into VS Code? Yes, it's right here and it's already there. You don't have to do anything else. It is right here. All the things that we're doing, you can do, okay? There's changes, stage all, unstage all, commit, undo last commit. There's options right here inside of VS Code. This is the Git tab in VS Code. You can do all of these things from here as well. I don't do them through here, so I don't know exactly which thing to click, but it seems like it makes it pretty easy. You can delete stuff. We're about to talk about stashing in a little bit. Push and pull if I need to, undo my last commit. That's usually you're gonna only want to undo the last commit, so that's helpful. And that will allow you to kind of click and do it right there. I was not prepared to go back to the slides with my eyes. That's completely fair. Undo last commit is reset or revert. Pretty sure it's just reset. 99% sure it's just reset. But we can also check that. Let's actually check it. Let's check it. I think the easiest way to check it, let me clear this out. App.py, hold on. Let me see where we are. I'm gonna add app.py. Add a Python app. Okay. I think that if I do a undo last commit, I think it will do. And so we can actually figure out what actually happened. So they usually gives you some output. I probably should have clicked on the output phase. I think it would have told me what we did or what it was doing. But if I do a git status here, the app.py is still staged, okay? This means that it did a soft reset, okay? When I clicked in here, when I clicked commit and undo last commit, it did a soft reset. It's still staged. The file is still staged, but that commit is gone, okay? The commit has been removed from the history. So if I want to commit it again, I can just do it again. All right, I just like that. And if I do a git status, We're good to go. And if I do a git log, so actually, so notice this. Actually, notice this right here. I removed it. So added Python app. Look at this commit ID 3BF5 6547. Okay. I'm going to reset it again. Undo last commit. It's going to reset again. I'm gonna look at the git log again. When I look at the git log, notice this commit is gone. It's been moved down to here. This commit has been completely removed from the history. Now, if I go to commit it again, it should give us a completely different commit ID. Same thing, but it gives us a completely different commit. It's just to show you that these things are unique. The system is seeing this as a completely different thing. Okay, this commit ID is not the same as the one up here when we did it before. It's a brand new item. Got to get back into Git. I prefer the code live on the server. I mean, yes, the code live on the server so my clients can view it, what I'm up to. I normally use simple FTP and VS Code. So depending on your setup, like some people are like, oh no, that's crazy. Like I think it could be fine. I still think you should use Git for backing up, making sure that you know what's going on with your code base and you can see the stuff like locally. But I don't think there's anything wrong with FTP. I would say you can save yourself some time, not like by just using Git to move the stuff, but that's not necessarily true. Might be true sometimes, but it's not always true. Can I help you crafting a payload for a basic XXC attack? I cannot. I can't. I wish that I could, but I can't. That's not my world. That's definitely not my world. There are, if that's what you want to do, ethical or unethical. I'm not the person who's judging. There are definitely some people in the science and tech section who can help you. I had to click around, see who help you out. Just don't do it against me. That's all. Just make sure I'm immune. That's all. Let's see. Okay, that's the reset. Super helpful. Now, if Sully's here, Sully could definitely help you out with that most likely. Let's get back to Rebase. This is probably the one that most of you have been waiting for and understanding what rebasing is. So rebasing gives your feature branch, okay, notice we said feature branch, a new base to work off of. Rebase rewinds and applies your commits to an updated base branch. All right. It rewinds and applies your commits to an updated base branch. Rebase, what it does is it provides a new base for a feature branch. So when you create a branch, you're basing it off of another branch. So if you want to make a development branch, you have to base it off of another branch. When you go to make that new branch, it's based off of main usually. Your first branch is going to be based off of main. All right, and it's going to be based off of main at the time that you do it. If there are updates throughout the pipeline, we saw that yesterday that to get those updates, you might have to merge them into your branch to make sure that you have those updates. Rebase, on the other hand, allows you to take your branch that already exists that you've made changes to and provide a new underlying base branch that you base it off of. So essentially it's setting it up in a way that you base it off of how the branch is currently, which is helpful with all the updates in order. This is what it actually does though. I'm gonna draw it out because this is very confusing. What it actually does is it looks at the two branches that you have, okay? It goes through and it says, hey, what is the last common commit? What is the very last common commit between these two branches? And it goes all the way back to where it finds some commonality. All right, and it says, cool, got it. I know where the common branch is. Now it takes all the changes that you've made on your new branch and it kind of stores them in memory. It's like, all right, I know you made some changes. I'm gonna store them in memory. And then I'm gonna blow away everything. I'm gonna reset, I'm gonna start over. I'm gonna reset back to this point of commonality. All right. Then I'm going to apply all the updates from the base branch. So if there were a bunch of new updates for the base branch, it's going to apply all the new updates, and then it's going to take all the stuff that is saved in memory, the changes that you made, and it's going to apply those to the top of it. It gets really confusing. It can be really confusing. Let's draw it out. Let's talk about what it means for the history of the project and what it means, for Git's history, because it can be very confusing. But yeah. Yes, the Marquez Brownie gif. Hopefully you all are all Marquez Brownlee fans, MKBHD, or as I like to pronounce, Mkabahad. And the first time I ever heard someone say that or someone type that out, I can't stop saying it, unfortunately. But yeah, then you got to go back and watch the videos if you don't get that reference, but you should. Don't like your repo history, rebase now to rewrite the history. Yeah. First off, what's up, RWX Rob? You came in at the perfect spot. We got to shout you out as usual. First off, I feel like you've been streaming all day. I feel like I saw you online earlier today. But thank you so much for the raid again, everyone who came from RWX Rob's channel. Come on in, get comfortable. We are talking about an important Git topic right now. We have since 3 a.m. Oh, that sounds wild. That sounds pretty crazy. But we just started talking about rebasing, and we're about to learn about what rebasing is in Git and what it means and what it does to the history, and when you should use it, when you should not use it, because there are some important things to talk about here with rebasing. Okay. Don't forget Mr. Who's the Boss, decent YouTuber fella. I don't even know who that is. We'll start streaming probably tomorrow now. Hey, gotta do what you gotta do. All right, so this is how it works. So imagine, the project started down here, okay? And this is the main branch. And the project's moving along and we get some updates, and all right, developer one, as usual, dev one gets the task to go ahead and create a brand new thing. And they branch off to the new feature branch, okay? Feature number one, whatever. So we got feature number one here, and they branch off to this point, okay? And actually I shouldn't have drawn an arrow, but that's just to show that we're now creating a new lineage here. We're creating a new series of commits, okay? But maybe at the same time, maybe someone else, maybe dev 2 was working on feature 0 over here, okay? And they were working on it for a little while, and they made a couple commits, here and here and maybe here. Okay, and dev 1 is over here, and they are working and they're doing some stuff, and they make a commit here. They've made some amazing changes, okay? But when they're not finished yet, dev 1 is not finished with feature 1 yet. And when they're not done, dev 0 over here finishes up with feature 0, okay? And is ready to merge that back in to main, and so they do so. Okay, so now the main branch now has feature 0 inside of it, okay? So all of the history over here is now included in the main branch. All right, main branch has what it had before and feature 0, but feature 1 does not have feature 0, okay? Because it started out with this as the base of the branch. The base of the branch is main, but it's based off of that exact point in time. All right, so what you would do with a rebase is this. I'm gonna slide this over a little bit. What rebasing does is it creates a new base. So all these commits are over here, and now they've been merged in. Let's just say it was a merge commit. What rebasing does is it allows you to easily, look how confusing this is over here. That's very confusing, and that graph can be hard to read. Rebasing allows you to move it from something like that to something like this. Isn't this a lot better? Or maybe it's a lot better, but it allows you to create a linear graph, a linear workflow for your commits. Okay, it can make it a little bit simpler for you to see what's happening and to see what is going on, and it keeps those commits intact. And so the way that it achieves this is the rebase will go back and it'll say, hey, what is the last, let's say we want to rebase, we want to rebase main. I actually don't even know the right way to say this. So if I was working on feature one, I would rebase main, and that would put it on top. But I want to rebase. Let's say I want to rebase feature one with main. Maybe that's the better way. Feature one with main. Okay, that's what we want to do here. And so what it would do is it would go all the way back to the last common commit. The last common commit between main and feature one. The last common commit is where we first branched off of. So it's right here. It's that first, it's the first one where there's matching stuff. So what would happen is it would start off with this base, with 3 commits. Okay. And it would go back to here and it would say, cool, I've got a starting point. Let me blow everything away. Let me save this to memory. So it'll actually save this to memory right here. And it'll basically blow it all away, and it'll say, "Cool, let's assign these some values." Actually, let's say 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's call this 1B, 2B, and 3B. So we're labeling the commits really quick, and let's call this 1B, 2B, 3B, and let's call this 1A, 2A, 3A, 4A. Okay, what it's gonna do is we have commit 1, commit 2, commit 3. If we rebase everything properly, and if we rebase back into here, what would happen is it would now, after 1, 2, and 3, it would create a new base from the main branch. The main branch now has all of these commits in here. So then it would include 1A, 2A, 3A, and 4A. It will put those there first. It would actually rewind and it would apply these commits in order, 3A and 4A. And then it would apply 1B, 2B, and 3B. Okay, so now is a much more linear commit history. Okay, it makes it a little bit cleaner. It makes it a little bit more clean, and it can help you resolve some problems. But the big thing that you want to know here is what it does to the history. This does change the commit history. So this 1A right here, when 1A gets put in here, it will no longer be the same commit as this 1A. All right. And that can actually be that can actually be very problematic. Okay. These will be different now. 2A will be it'll be a different commit. Okay. It's reapplying the commit. It's reapplying the patch, but it'll ultimately be a different commit. The same changes will now have a different commit ID, which can be very problematic when working open source software. There's a big problem with whenever you're doing something. It's really only good to work on a repository that you kind of own and have access to, unless it's part of your workflow. You kind of got to be careful with this, because what can happen is, especially with a lot of people managing this thing, a lot of people working with this thing, working with shared branches in particular. So if a lot of people are working on a shared branch, rebasing is not what you want to do, because then every time somebody rebases, you'll have all kinds of conflicts that you'll have to resolve. You have to resolve all kinds of stuff because now these pointers have changed. And so if the teams are working on shared branches, rebasing is something that you don't want to do, because again, the commit ID will change. All right, that's very problematic. So the commit history will change. 2A will not be the same 2A as it was before, even though it does the same thing. So be careful with that. Rebasing can be hard to accomplish sometimes. Agreed, it can. Standard Git flow model has developed cloned from master and feature branches pulled from develop. Yeah, I'm gonna go over those, White Wolf, in a second. The worst scenario is when 2 people work on a published branch and you want to rebase. Correct. That is, you shouldn't, if you're working on the same branch, again, rebasing can be very, very hectic. But let's see what this looks like in action, again, to hopefully help you understand. Again, why would you want to do this? This allows, so merging is one way to get two histories together. Rebasing is as well, okay? So the way that you would, if you'd use rebasing for everything, what you end up doing is you would, once you rebase, okay? So imagine this, when you go from this on the left to this on the right, if you successfully rebase, okay? If you can get it to finish successfully, if your goal is then to take this and merge back in, you can. Okay, so if you can successfully go from the left to the right, then when you try to merge feature one's branch back in to main over here, it will merge no problem. You will have no merge conflicts. Why? Because it now has every change that it had. You've already done the merging basically. So that's cool if you want to do that. If you do that though, if you do that, you kind of lose the benefit of lining everything up though, and it still ends up looking like this over here. And I'm gonna show you that in a second. It can be very confusing. You kind of lose that benefit, but it does help you kind of confirm that the stuff that you're doing now will work. It is merging properly. It can get kind of interesting. But this works best when you are operating within feature branches that only one person is working on. Yes, Ridgeback Dad. I've already cut up the other two, and I'm gonna cut up this one tonight, and I'm gonna get them all up tonight. Actually, I'm gonna try to upload them. My internet's not crazy fast for uploads, so they're pretty long. So by the morning, they should be there. Absolutely. I'm hopefully this can be very hard to understand. I'm gonna try to make it simpler in a second, but I want you to see it first, and we'll try to break it down again because this can be very confusing. So let's hop in and let's set up a scenario where we are now going to rebase. All right. And actually, I'm actually pretty mad that so watch this. We made a bunch of random changes locally, but I don't really want any of that stuff. So I'm going to reset everything here. And if I want to reset everything, I'm going to do get reset -- hard. And I'm going to reset to origin / main. So this, when you see origin like this / main, it is actually referring to the path on the remote actually. So what this is doing is actually going to reset it against the whatever the branch is at in the remote. So when I do this, it kind of gives me back everything. Exactly what's in GitHub is now locally on my computer. And now I can do whatever it is that I would like to do with this repository. I'm not gonna save this. I'm gonna close everything. And now we can do what we want to do. So for this workflow to work, it's important that we know what branch we're on. We are on main, okay? We gotta create the scenario for us to follow. And so we're gonna do main, we're gonna do developer 1, and we're just gonna do main and developer 1. We don't need to do a developer 2. That's the workflow would work better that way, but we'll just do main and developer 1. So I'm the developer. I am ready to work on my brand new project. And so I'm just going to say git checkout -b. Actually, we've been doing git checkout -b. Remember, what's the difference between git checkout -b and creating a new branch with git branch? Remember, if we create a branch with git branch like this, and then the name of the branch, so if I call it feature 1, if we create like this, it creates the branch. How can we confirm? Type it in git branch, but it does not change our working directory. It does not check out that branch. So now I'm going to check out that branch. And we're ready to go. So we have done essentially this so far. What's up, RWX? Welcome to the channel. It's good to have you. Red, welcome as well. Thank you so much for the follow. But let's draw out what we're doing as we're doing it. What we have done just now is we have main, and main has a bunch of different things in it, but it's okay. We have main here, and all we did was branch off to our own feature 1. This is what we've done so far. Okay. And let's go ahead and let's make a number of changes to this thing. What's up? I'm Housen. Welcome to the channel. I love it. Or I'm Husen. Either one. I don't know. Figure out, just let me know. If I can pronounce it better, let me know. So let's see. Let's make a couple changes. Make it super simple. So you're using trunk-based development. We're gonna talk about trunk-based development. Sure. Right now, yes. This example, sure. Yes, this is trunk-based development. We're gonna dive deeper into that in a second, though, into the intricacies of that. So I'm gonna make a couple quick changes to this so that we can add some things to the commit. So here, all we're gonna do is in the new file.txt file, I'm just gonna type in mastermind1, okay? And this is I'm gonna commit this. I'm not even gonna do it with the command line. I'm gonna do it right from here. So I'm gonna add this to stage it, and I'm gonna say mm1, just so we know, we can visually see what was added in each commit. All right, so I've now made a commit. And again, if I do a git log, I can see here that I've added this mm1. So I'm gonna do mm1. I'm gonna do mm2. Okay, another save. All right, I'm gonna do it again. I'm gonna add another commit for mm2. So I've changed the history yet again, and I'm gonna do it one more time, okay? mm3, I'm gonna save it. Whoops. Save it. I'm gonna git add it. I'm gonna git commit it. mm3, and we're good to go. So I have now modified the history of this 3 times, okay? I've modified it 3 times. And again, how can we confirm that the history of this thing has changed? Git log, again, will tell us this. And the last 3 commits are mm3, mm2, and mm1. All right, so I've changed the history of my branch, of the feature 1 branch, okay? So I've done my work. I've been working on my thing over the past week, let's say. I've been developing this new feature, and I'm getting ready to make sure I'm ready to deploy it and merge it back into main. What's good? It's going midnight here in the UK. That's pretty late. So definitely get to bed. Absolutely appreciate you coming through. I love it. Go get some rest. Is main the same as like a dev branch? Yeah, I mean, so main is just a branch, just like anything else. But the only difference is main is set up as the default branch. You can set up any branch as your default branch. In our case, in most cases, main or master is the default branch. So just be wary of that. But it is a branch just like any other branch. It doesn't get any special stuff besides it being the first thing that's displayed inside of GitHub, and the first branch that you'll check out if you clone a repository. But main is just like a dev branch. It is all branches are created equally, essentially. So I've created 3 commits here. But while I was working on this over the past week, the main repository has been updated. The main branches have actually been updated a number of times. So let me, I'm going to check out main. Okay. So let's go back to our workflow. This is what I've done so far. I've done mm1, mm2, and mm3. This is what so far the history of our repository looks like. Okay, but while I was working on that, like I said, a couple of different things have been committed to master or main. So I'm gonna check out main really quick. And if I do a git log again, I can see here that mm1 and mm2 and mm3 are not a part of this history. Okay, because they are part of that feature branch. So let's say while we weren't here, let's say instead, you can also see that this file doesn't have those things. Let's say maybe instead, the top of this file, maybe we have mm, instead of mm, we're gonna do tt1. Okay. So let's do that. Let's do these 3 via the command line. So git status, And I'm gonna do git add because we made a change to this, git commit, and I'll call this TT1 so we can identify it. All right, so that's one commit. And if we git log this again, we can see now that TT1 is here. We've changed the history. Let's do it again with TT2. Let's do the same thing. Let's add it. Let's commit it. And now we've done it again. So we have TT1, TT2, and let's do the last one, which is, we'll do a TT3 really quick. All right, so the main branch has now received 3 updates, okay? And if we log it out again, we can see that there's been 3 updates to the main branch. So this is what it looks like now. Actually, let me spread those out a little bit. Let's say it looked more like this, timeline wise. All right, so TT1 is right here, TT2, and TT3. Okay, so we have 2 different branches, you know, and so I based off of the main branch. So that data is important to me, and with the goal of merging back into main. So if, you know, I now have changes, and so feature 1 has diverged from main. So what you should do, what I think you should do, and if you're going to use Rebase for this, is now you can say, cool, I need to get all of the changes that have been made since I began this branch. Rebasing is going to allow us to do that. So the way that we would do this is we would, from our branch. So I'm gonna git checkout feature 1. All right, feature -1. So what you need to do is, 1, you need to make sure that you have the updates. Okay, so actually the very first thing that you're gonna do is check out master, actually, or main, or whatever branch you want to get updates from. You need to check that out, and you need to do a git pull. You need to get the updates. So right now I don't need to do a pull because I did them locally and I have the changes here. But if someone else has updated it, you need to go in and you need to do a git pull to get those updates. You need to get the updates that are in the remote and pull them down to your local machine so that your computer knows about them. So first thing you do, go to the main branch, you pull all the updates down. All right, you say, these are updates that I want to rebase off of. Then you check out the branch that you're working on. So you get check out feature 1. All right, so this is what I've been working on. And now I am ready to rebase. Okay, I'm now ready to create a new base branch for my updates. And so I'm gonna do git rebase master. So you go to the branch that you want to rebase onto, and you get rebase from the branch you want to rebase from. And when I hit enter, it's not master, it's main. Sorry about that. All right, this is the part that can get annoying. It begins to do this, okay? It begins to, let's take a look at the output. First, rewinding head to replay your work on top of it. So when it says rewind, like I said, all it's doing right now is it's going all the way back to find the common commit. This is the common commit right here, okay? That's the common commit. So it goes all the way back to that point. Then it saves this, all of this over here, it saves it off to memory, okay? And then it says, now I'm gonna replay the things that happened over on the branch that you're rebasing from. So then it's gonna apply each of these one by one. Then it's gonna apply these one by one. Because it's applying all of them one by one, we can run into issues every time it attempts to replay one of these items, which we have run into right now. So it says rewinding, applying MM1, okay? Using index info reconstruct base tree, new file, falling back and patching base and 3-way merge, auto merging. So it, you know, when it applies that patch, it is merging. And so it's trying to merge these things. And when it can't do it successfully, you run into errors, okay? And you run, it says error patch failed, use git am show current patch to see what failed. Yeah, so you can see what the problems are, okay? But all these are conflicts. So now we need to go in and we need to apply, basically not apply, but we need to go in and I didn't even do that. We need to go in and choose which things are going to resolve this. So this is back to merge conflicts, okay? We're just resolving this. This is why it's scary. And so you can accept the current change or the incoming change. So the change that's trying to come in from the patch is what I can accept. And so, you know, I can say, all right, cool. I want to accept the incoming change and I can save it. And once you do that, you add it and then you continue. Okay. Yes, correct. Don't do this with 1,000 commits. Yeah. 1,000 commits would be hurtful, or do it often. If it's a part of your workflow and the base branch is getting updated often, make sure you're rebasing relatively often. You don't have to wait until the end to rebase. You can rebase, you know, pretty often. And so what I got to do now is I do a get status, and I made some changes here. I'm going to add it, and to continue the rebase, I'm going to do get rebase continue. And what's going to happen basically is I'm going to end up running into this for each of the patches, but I'm going to continue it and it'll move on to the next one. And notice how it's on MM2 now, and it's unsure of what to make of it. And so it's not always going to do this. Okay. It's only going to do this when there are conflicts, and you know, there might be conflicts often. I would argue that you can avoid conflicts, can often be avoided at the project management level, in the creation of the tasking, rather than here. But you know, that's a systemic problem, more so. So you know, I'm gonna accept the incoming change here as well. Okay, so I'm gonna do get status again, get add, and I can show you how to do this to make it easier. New file.txt, and I'm gonna simply rebase. I'm gonna continue the process. I'm gonna keep going. Okay. Fails again. Did I add it right? Oh, let me see. Did I do add? Get add, rebase continue. We got another conflict here. Oh, actually, I never saved this. Whoops. Failed to save. Oh, no, it's actually just changed. I got to close this because it changed. Open it again. And now, ooh. So I've actually caused myself all kinds of problems. Actually, but it's okay. This is just a merge conflict. This has nothing to do with rebasing. I'm having a merge conflict here. I can say, oh, it's a bunch of stuff here. I actually don't know how it ended up like this. But I'll delete it, and you know, I'll delete this, and I'll delete this, and I'll say, you know, I know MM1's supposed to be there, but I accidentally included 2 here, and okay, like that looks better for what it is. I've resolved the conflict. Again, resolving the conflict has nothing to do with anything technical. It is, I need to go talk to the person who implemented some of these other changes, and I need to figure out with them, we need to figure out which code needs to stay. Okay, and so I'm gonna rebase. I'm gonna get add again. I'll do get status. I'll get added again, and I will continue again. And once it gets to the end, it'll apply it. It'll say it's fine, and then it's done. Okay. The rebase is now complete. And if I do a get log, one line, take a look at the history here. The history now is TT1, TT2, TT3, M1, M2, M3. Remember, originally, before we rebased, TT1 happened in the main branch, okay? Happened in the main branch. I had M1, M2, and M3 here, but now when I rebased it, I basically did this right here. So it reset everything, and it now made it so that it really what it did, because I can't move all this stuff, it took all of this, it basically took all these changes. It basically took this commit right here, this pointer, and it basically now made it this. Okay, and now basically rewinded time and made it so that where I based this branch off of actually now is that TT3 commit rather than the original base commit. Okay, so I've given it a new base. I've given it a new underlying base of things, and yeah, and now that my whole history is different. Also, again, remember that these actually changed. You know, if I look at this 930 AE for MM3, if I scroll back up and try to find the commit for MM3, I can't. It won't let me go back up that far. Oh yeah, well, no, it won't. It won't. It's actually different than it was originally. But now I've created a new base, and now everything's merged in properly. Everything is good to go, and it's made a much more linear lineup for me. It actually looks. So if instead if I do a get LG, whoops, I got to grab my get LG command. It would actually show a linear line instead of all those little lines going out and merging back in, which is helpful for us. And now my feature one branch could be merged back into main. And so these are your two options here. You can just merge it back in, or what I would actually do to, you know, so I've got all the changes in feature one. Great. Merging it back in could be fine if that's your workflow. That presents some problems, some pros and cons. But I could also go back to main. Okay, I can go back to main and let me check this out. Let's look at this. It has TT1, TT2, and TT3, but it does not have MM1, MM2, and MM3. I can fast forward rebase by doing a get rebase. Feature one. Okay, and it fast forwards it. And if I do get log one line again, look at this. Now my main branch has all the updates from feature one. Okay, it still went back. It still went back to the common commit, which was down here on TT3, and then it applied these patches over top of it after it started to replay it. And you notice we did not get any conflicts. Okay, the reason why we did not get any conflicts, is because we already resolved the conflicts in the last branch. So when it tried to replay the patches, it didn't run into the same problems. Okay, why do we have to re-add the same the same file 3 times? Because each of those commits those changes were made to the same file. So if you want, you could manually put them all in on the first one, but yeah, you got to change them because it's gonna try to reapply every single time, and each time those updates were made to that same file. Can we reverse rebase continue if something horrible happens like MM1? Yeah. So you can abort. Usually when I'm running into problems and I make a mistake, I will abort the whole thing. So if you're in the middle of get rebase heck, you can abort it and go back to where you were before the rebase and try it again. That is what I do. This could suck if you do have a lot of commits, so be careful with that. But yeah, that's how you would do it. Rebase means exactly what it says. Give me a new base branch. You know, recreate the base branch underneath me and then apply my commits basically on top. And you know, it can be cumbersome. Most of the time, in my experience, if added into your workflow correctly, it's not cumbersome at all. It's equally as cumbersome. You would have the same you would actually have the same merge conflicts. But actually, you can also, not only that, let's say you do have 1,000. Let's say you have 1,000 ones to go through, and there's going to be the same thing as the same patch is going to pop up all 1,000 times. You get it in the first 10, and it's going to pop up for the next 950 or whatever, 995, whatever. You can actually have it auto apply a specific patch, okay, to every single one. I forgot how you do that. I've run into it a few times. You can have it you don't have to manually fix it every time. You can have it auto apply this patch every single time. But I don't remember how to do that. I got to look it up again. But yeah, rebasing is nice. So we'll talk a little bit more about it when we get into the workflow section about how we could use it a little bit more deeply. We still have a lot to go through. But yeah, so real quick, this one's relatively simple. This one's cherry picking. Cherry picking simply allows us to be able to pull in changes from an existing commit. Usually you're going to do this from other branches. We started talking about this yesterday, I believe. Cherry picking allows you to say, hey, I don't have changes in my branch. Okay. I don't have these changes, but I need them. I need them to work on some stuff. Let me go grab it. And so going back to, yeah, the GIF is kind of nasty. It's grossing me out a little bit. The same thing we kind of have here. Let's redraw it. Instead of rebasing how we did, you could cherry pick if you wanted. You know, it could have some stuff here, and we based off of this, and we were here. And let's say we needed what was in here. We needed what was in here, and we needed it over here. We can cherry pick. Let's say this was MM2. We can grab this exact commit and pull it over whenever we want. Okay, and now MM2 will be here. It's fine. It's fine to do this. It's okay to do this. But again, I think that this is, if you are doing this, you are likely not utilizing, you're likely not getting all of the benefits of Git because your workflow in doing that is circumventing a lot of the checks and balances that you might have. The scenario you would want to cherry pick is exactly this. Main. Someone is working on, let's say, someone is working on a button. So they make a new branch over here called button, and someone over here is working on, they're working on like a hyperlink or something. I don't know. And this person over here is, working on a hyperlink component or something. And this person over here is doing their work and they're working on this button. All right, maybe this button needs a hyperlink. Maybe the button needs the hyperlink component because you got to be able to link stuff. Okay, you got to be able to go out, and get stuff. But maybe the developer who's working on the hyperlink has implemented something that's going to be universal that the person in button needs, but they're not done yet. They're not done with it, so it can't be merged into here yet. Okay, because they're not finished with it yet. But this person over here needs it, so they they're like, what do I do? They could rebase, they could do a lot of different things, but they're working on two different features, and this could cause a lot of problems actually. So let's say they get in here and they, there's some kind of special URL thing, and this is commit number 3, whatever. If the person creating the button needs it before it's ready, before it's in the main branch, before they can rebase or merge in properly, they can take only the changes from this commit. Okay, they can cherry pick only the updates. Maybe there was a very specific thing that was in here, and when they take commit 3, they're not taking commit 2 and commit 1. They're only taking commit 3. They're only taking the patch from commit 3, and they're pulling it straight over to here, so they can get whatever changes that were there, so that they could utilize those things in their own code without having to rewrite the code. Okay, so be careful with cherry pick. It can be pretty helpful, and so let's do exactly that. Let's set up a cherry pick really quick, and let me delete some of these branches. So I'm going to, we didn't talk about this, but the way that you remove a branch is you do git branch dash lowercase d will delete a local branch. Okay, so it'll only delete it from my computer and not from the remote. A capital D will remove from the remote. So if I remove, feature title, and I also remove feature button, and I do git branch again, those are gone. They're also gone from the remote. If I should do a git branch dash A, oh, wait. They're not gone from the remote. Why are they not gone from the remote? I thought capital D removed them from the remote. Maybe not. Bisects is a fantastic command for sure. Well, maybe we'll have time to go over bisects a little bit. I thought capital D removed it from remote. Let me see. Maybe not. Let's see. Git remove remote. Deleting local branches. I was right there. Deleting remote branches. Oh, it's dash dash delete. Oh, I need to give it the full path. Never mind, that was dumb. I need to give it the full path. I don't know why. I don't know where I got the capital D from. I wonder what capital D does. Let's see. Get branch. Let me see if it's in here real quick. In my mind, it does something cool. Oh, okay. I guess either works. Okay, cool. I just got to give it the full remote path. That's fine. So I was tripping on that. My bad. But let's do. Wait, what are we doing? I forgot that fast. You see, that's how I know it's getting late. I confused myself. Cherry picking. All right, so let's cherry pick. Let's say, ooh, I like this actually. Is force delete even if okay, even if unmerged changes. Got it. Thank you. What I can do here is I'm on the main branch right now. Let's do let's check out feature one. Let's go back to feature one. Okay, and what we can do real quick is let's add another thing. Let's do this right here. AA1 real quick. I'll do it through here because it'll be faster. AA1, AA2, and AA3. What we're gonna do here. So we have 3 new updates over here. All right, so right now in this branch, we now have A1, A2, and A3. Let's say in the main branch, right now, we're working on something. We don't need AA1 or AA3 right now because we're not ready for it. It's incomplete. But the code from AA2 is definitely what we need. We can copy this. We can copy this hash. Okay, we can copy that. And then when we are on main, we can see the AAs aren't there, okay? But what I can do is I can do a get. Is there a dash? Is cherry pick? There's a dash in there. Actually, let's look at it first. Cherry pick, help, see some of the options. Apply changes introduced by some existing commits. And I don't know, I only ever do a specific commit, so I actually don't know any other the cool things that you could do here, but you can look through the help and see what else you can do. But get cherry pick, and then I provide this commit, okay? And there's a conflict. It worked, but there is a conflict. And if we go look at it, AA1, so AA2 is attempting to come in, but what's currently here, the current change, there's nothing there, and I can accept the incoming change by doing exactly that. And now I have everything that's a part of this commit. AA1 is a part of that commit because it's a linked list. It's here, and it applies those changes, but it's not going to hit me with each of the options individually because it's going to apply all the patches, so forth. So I didn't get AA3 because I didn't cherry pick to AA3. I only cherry picked to AA2. So I introduced this exact commit. It's, you could have, there's a bunch of things you could have done, but cherry picking allows you to grab a specific commit and get it into your code base. It's still gonna merge it in. You still have to deal with all the conflicts as we just had to do. I'm actually not sure why these are providing conflicts. I feel like these shouldn't be conflicting, to be honest. But I wonder if this is blank space rather than and no line at all. I guess that's what it was. But once you do it, you got to do the same thing. You have to solve them. And after we solve that merge problem, I have to git add new file, commit -m added AA2. And if I do a git log, I get the single added AA2 commit rather than all the commits themselves. And take a look really quick. 07 A2EF, is that the same thing as what we had before? No, because I just committed this just now manually because of the merge problem, but you still have to do it anyway. Pulls it in, and you then have to create a merge commit there. So cherry pick allows you to kind of go, you can kind of go anywhere with it as well. So you can, whatever branch, usually it's done from branch to branch. So you just hop over to whatever branch you need code from, and you can cherry pick that exact commit, and you can try to pull it in. In my experience, cherry picking very often causes merge conflicts. So just be ready for the conflicts you're about to face. But yeah, what's up, Funny Commentary? Good to see you. Also, what's up, Christian? Welcome to the channel. Thank you so much for the follow. And Shodrun, welcome to the channel. Sorry I missed your follow almost 20 minutes ago. Hopefully you're still here. It's good to see you. So that's cherry picking. Pretty straightforward there. It may not be straightforward trying to resolve your conflicts, but pretty straightforward concept. I'm picking the exact commit. Get, cherry pick, commit ID. That's all you need. Stashing is helpful very often. So stashing, sometimes we aren't ready to commit, but we need to do something else, like switch to a new branch. Okay. First, let me show you what happens if you are doing this. Let's say we're working on something. Okay. Clear. All right, so we're currently on, I'm gonna push this real quick. I don't really need to push it, whatever. So I'm on the main branch right now, I think. I'm on the main branch. Let me check out feature branch really quick. And this is a real life scenario. Like this happens. All right, so I am on here. Let me get status, make sure we're good to go. Okay, so we're on this branch. Okay, we made a bunch of changes. Let's grab some lorem ipsum. Oh, I mean, it's not, but we can definitely accidentally get ourselves into some oh shit git for sure. First off, we should share that because what I don't know what the actual there's a website for it, isn't it? There we go. So Git is it's problematic, and there are sites to help you. Oh shit Git allows you to, I'm gonna keep saying it because that's what it's called. It helps if you're confused about what to possibly do next to get out of the jam that you created. This site is a great reference for getting you out of it. So take a look at it. It helps you through it. I need to change a message to my last commit. Well, oh, look at this, commit amend. I forgot about that. It walks you through how to get out of something that you got into on accident. Like pushing the master, sure. Which is something that if you push the master and you didn't mean to, and you're working for a company and that was allowed, it's not your fault. It is absolutely not your fault. If they try to get mad at you, you should tell them it's their fault. There are 8 different things they could do to stop that from happening. You shouldn't be able to push the master for things that are important. GitHub, GitLab, all these tools allow you to do branch protection and all kinds of stuff. If you should do that and it's not your own personal project, it's not your fault. Exactly. It should be protected for sure. It ain't your fault. Okay, so let me go in here. Let me paste some of this lorem ipsum in here. That's not lorem ipsum, but this is. All right, so let's say we made a bunch of changes here. That's not a bunch of changes, but let's say we did make a bunch of changes and we're still working on this branch. Let's say we're still developing it, but it doesn't work yet. Okay, we don't want to commit anything because that changes the history. But like it's not working yet. We're still working through the problems. But in the meantime, your boss comes over and comes running and says, "Oh my gosh, there's an issue with production, and you must go in and you must change the name." Look at this. There's on line 5. The president's name, you know, I'm the president right here. The president's name is misspelled. You must go change that right now. You got to change it. It is of the utmost importance. We need a hotfix branch right now. Go fix it. Okay. You say, but I'm not ready to do that. I'm not ready to be done with my stuff. Whoops. Whoa. You say, you know, I'm not ready. So if I do a get status here, you know, I'm still working on my code, but I don't want to lose my code and I don't want to commit it. Okay. I don't want to commit it because it's not working yet. This is what you can do. Okay. You can now, well, first off, if I try to do this, but before I do anything, well, actually I might have, okay, hold on. I might have, did this out of order, but if I try to change the branch now, it actually will work. It will work because, it'll just apply this to the next branch. So let me get added. Maybe it's after I commit. What did I say in here? I might have said this wrong. Yeah, you aren't ready to commit, but you need to go to new branch. So I might say something like this. I might add it or something. And you know, I'm saying, oh no, let me go to a new branch and I want to get checkout. I get checkout, you know, hotfix branch. -B hotfix. Maybe I want something like this. And I want to switch to the new branch hotfix. Right now, my changes will actually get brought over, which is annoying. You don't really want that. Like, that's not what I wanted to do. All of my stuff is still there. What's up, Chris Nova? Welcome to the channel. Shout out to Chris Nova. I hope that you had an amazing stream. It's good to see you here. Welcome all of Chris Nova's Raiders. Come on in. We're pretty close to the end of our session today though, but we're on part 3 of 3 of a Get Masterclass. Right now we're talking about stashing, and you know, we're having some fun watching from my TV but using mobile app to say hello. I appreciate it. Elder Dot, welcome. So we changed over to a new branch, to this hotfix branch, but because we did that, because we switched over to this hotfix branch, my changes are here. All this lorem ipsum, they're here in this branch, but I don't want these things here. That doesn't make, like, I don't want those changes here. They're not supposed to go here. They're not ready to be committed. They're not ready. It's not ready to go out yet. Okay. So what we want to do, actually, I'm gonna go back to my last branch. If you didn't know, get checkout minus will take you to whatever your last branch was. But if I do a get status, I can do a get stash to stash away my changes. Okay, stash away my changes, but save them for later. Okay, so get stash puts the changes in the stash. All right, so it gets rid of them so I can go do some other stuff. All right, so get stash. Saved working directory in index state work in progress to feature 1. Okay, so it saved it. It's there and it's ready for me to get back to whatever I need to. Notice how that lorem ipsum is no longer in this file. Okay, so now if I want to get checkout the hotfix branch, that stuff's not going to be there, and I can start from, you know, I can start to build from where I was at. Okay, it is very handy. So you might say, okay, I stashed away my changes for later, but like, how do I get them? What do I do with them? Well, get stash list will allow you to see them. Keep clicking on this because it makes the most sense. Get stash list will allow you to see with the index here, what was what. There's no good way to see what's in what, like from this screen, but it'll show you your list. I don't advise stashing too many things. Like, handle your stashes for sure. Don't stash for no reason. So get stash apply will allow you to reapply some patches. So if I say, okay, good, I you know, I've done my stuff on hotfix, everything's good, I'm back to my branch now and I'm ready to keep working, I can do get stash apply and the index number. So the number will be in here, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. I can select the number and it will reapply those things. And so it'll put it right. See how I put it right back in here. Okay. So pulled it off the stash. And if I list it again, it's still there. That stash item's still there, but it is, it pulled that off. So you can apply this to anywhere. I could go apply this somewhere else if I wanted to, but this is where I wanted it. Here's the problem with this though. Let's say I need to get rid of it again and I do another get stash. All right. Actually they might have done the same thing. Now there are two of these. There's the same patch. But now I have two of the same. Exactly. Polar Dreams. I get it. I don't either. I'm advising you to delete them from someone who doesn't delete them, and it causes me some problems sometimes, not super often. But what you really want to do is if the last item is what you want to do, you can get stash pop. And I think pop will both apply the last item and it will remove it. I think. Maybe I'm tripping. But now if I do a get stash list, it removes that item. So get stash pop is really good. So if you do a get stash, go do your stuff. When you come back, if you do a get stash pop, it will apply the changes back from the stash. It'll go in the stash bag, grab the updates, put them back in place, and it'll remove it out of the stash. Okay, that's super helpful. Pop, when you're talking about methods for arrays and collections, it pulls it off of the back usually, and it does remove it. So that gets rid of it. So pop is helpful. You can look through some of these. It's not a big deal. You can see the changes from get stash if you click show. I think you have to pass in the index as well. Can't remember. Yeah, it'll give you a little quick synopsis of what is about to happen when you apply the patch back, which is helpful. I forgot about this one. Get push with a custom message. So if you want to put a message with it to help you remember what was there, you can push it in with a message. But yeah, stash just allows you to stash away code, stash away changes for later. And again, the most common times I see this is when you're not ready to commit, but you have to change it. Like you got to change your branch or something like that, and you don't want your changes to get sucked into something else. Or stash is a good way to do that. Stash also can be used if you have not. Let's say you've made a number of significant changes, and you have not committed anything. We've been talking about rebasing and merging to be able to get a branch up to date. If you have not committed anything yet, if you haven't made a change in the history, but you've written a lot of code, you shouldn't do that. But if you have, the easiest way to do it is to stash it away. All right, stash it away, then rebase or to merge. Makes it super easy because there won't be any conflicts, because your base branch will now be the same thing as it was as the main branch is, and then just get stash pop them back on top. It can be super helpful. But yeah, what happens to a stash when you rebase or hard reset? That's a good question. Rebasing shouldn't bother it at all. A hard reset might. And let's see. That's a really, really good question. What confused me about stashes when I was using Git the first time is when you have multiple stashes. That's fair. That is fair. Let's see. I actually don't know what happens with a hard reset. I'm assuming it doesn't mess with the stash, but I don't know. Let's see that. Let's say we are still there. So it shouldn't delete anything. Shouldn't delete anything at all. Your stash should still be there. So stashing may be a good way to, but also theoretically, well, not theoretically, if you stashed, when you stash, what it stashes are the changes that exist from the last commit. So whatever the head is at, it will remove everything that's not a part of that commit. So if you stash, you've essentially reset to, you've essentially done a hard reset. Essentially, you just saved it. You've essentially done a hard reset, removed all your stuff, and you saved it so that you can apply it later. But yeah. What's up, Dead Blast? Stashing simply means stashing away changes to use later, not cherry pick. It's literally stashing away, taking changes and putting them away into a stash for later to be able to reapply later. All right, so that's a stash. And then lastly, we're gonna go over some get strategies and workflows. And this is I missed one thing that I do want to go over in a second, but we'll talk about these workflows and we'll try to get back to some of the extra stuff in a second. Is it possible to have merge conflicts with stashes? Not when you stash, but when you reapply the stash, when you apply it or you pop it, yes, you can absolutely have merge conflicts. Stash does stash over file changes and not over commits. Yes, file changes and not over commits. Correct. Oh no, there's that was no interruption. We're here for questions. We're here to learn. But get workflows. This contextualizing this was finally the thing that helped me understand Git. I didn't understand Git until I understood that there were workflows. I thought, like, in my mind, Git was this thing that you just did. It was this, like, all right, this is the order of things. Like, you just do these things in order. But I didn't understand that it was this living, Git is kind of it's a living thing. And so that's what makes it hard. It's very different for every team. So every team and every project has different needs. This means there is no one size fits all solution for version control workflows and strategies. So there isn't one best way to be able to manage the history and to be able to change the history of a code base. There are different solutions for this, and depending on your team, depending on the size, depending on your needs, there are, any option can make sense for you. The way that we do this thing is simply to use the tools. It's kind of like programming itself. You're given tools and you can use these tools to create any kind of workflow that you'd like. So again, using tools like branching and tagging and pull request and cherry picking, these all can be used to make up your workflow. All right. The most basic of workflows this is what we've been discussing is feature branch workflows. This is the most common, one of the most common ways of doing development. All new development should take place in a feature branch rather than the master branch or the default branch. So no development for feature branch workflows, no development is done on the default branch. Everything is done on, feature branches. Once the code is stabilized, once it's tested, code is merged from those feature branches back into the master branch. And so most Git workflows derive from this idea of feature branches or feature branch workflow. It is doing something, even when it's something like a release branch workflow, I would argue that release branches are feature branches. But yeah, a lot of them derive from this. Don't do any work on the default branch. That default branch could be any number of branches, but it's just something good for you to know about. And now we're gonna dive into some of the most common workflows. Let's see, merge on stash. I'm not sure because each time you stash is a new index. Yes, it doesn't matter what the previous stash index. Yeah, so I guess I'm misunderstanding. Merge on stash. No. So when you stash, there's no merging. It's only on apply. So if you were to apply number 4, index 4, it's applying. All it's doing is applying a patch. So it merges that back into whatever your current code base is right now. It's merging that in. So not when you stash, but when you apply the stash, when you apply or pop, that is when the merge takes place. So not when you put it away, but when you take it back out of that stash and try to put it over your code, to get it into your code. But there are a couple different prime time workflows that exist. There is Git flow. There is GitHub flow. There is GitLab flow. There are a bunch of them actually. But these, I'm gonna share these with you. They can be pretty confusing sometimes. and GitLab Flow. Just as an example, these can be hard to understand, and I always have to go back and read them to know which one is which and like what the benefits are. But let's I like to start with GitHub Flow because GitHub Flow is one of the most simple, and their guide for knowing what it is pretty simple. Yeah, yep, 100%, Caesar, you got it. So the way that GitHub Flow works is GitHub Flow says, okay, we start with the default branch, okay? Then we create a branch. So kind of so feature branching really, but we create a branch off of our main branch. So that's the first thing that happens in GitHub Flow. You create a new branch, number one, then you do the work. You make changes, you add all of your commits. That's next. After you do that, you open a pull request. So far, this is what we've been doing. This is actually very similar to feature branching. I'll talk about the differences in a second. You open up a pull request. So far, it's actually exactly the same as the feature branch workflow. But you open up a pull request. Remember, what's that pull request? That is a request, a merge request. It's a request that says, hey, I would like to merge my code back into the branch. Basically, usually it's off of the branch that I based my work off of. Usually, sometimes it can go the other direction as well. You can merge it into something else, but you open up a pull request saying, hey, I want to take my code and the changes that I've made, and I'd like to merge them somewhere else. All right, you open up the pull request, people will discuss and they review it. So the pull request is reviewed. Again, we still are this is everything that we've learned so far. This is still feature branch workflow here. Basically, here's the difference. Deploy, okay? This says, this workflow, GitHub Flow says, cool, we are not going to deploy. There's no need for us to deploy the main or default branch. We will deploy the most recent feature that we have, and we will test it. So this is the actual source of truth that goes out to production, okay? This gets sent out, it gets deployed, and you test it, you make sure it works. Not until it works, not until you're sure that it is working, do you merge it back into the main line. To me, this is very weird. This only works, this only works if you deploy often, and it only works well. It doesn't make for I have to imagine this is super harmful for when a lot of people are working on different features at once. It seems like you hold each other up very often, because I can't get your changes until they're merged into mainline, or I have to cherry pick them, which is annoying. And you got to figure out how changes get moved in between different branches, which can be frustrating, but that's one workflow. So branch, do the work, open up a PR, it gets reviewed, deploy it, then merge it back in. That is one workflow. I don't love it. I'm gonna be honest with you right now. I don't love it at all, but that's one way to work through it. Okay. And yeah, like I said, I just gave some cons to this. I think one of the pros is that, I think the one big pro to this is that you're confident when the stuff is merged into mainline, you're 100% confident that everything works because it's already been tested out in production, so I guess that's helpful. So like mainline is always your most, it's the code that you can believe in the most, but it's kind of confusing. What's up, Techno Geek? Good to see you. Thank you so much for the follow. Make America Smart Again. Welcome. Good to have you. What's up, Kidna? Good to have you. Thank you so much for the follow. Is this the same as having branches per environment? It could be, but I don't think so. So having branches per environment might look a little something like, I think GitHub Flow I mean, sorry, GitLab flow might make a little bit more sense for this. I'm actually not even gonna go over this right now. Go over that, but different branches per environment might look like this. And this is something that actually works really well. I actually enjoy branches per environment, and so this might work a little bit differently. The way that branches per environment might work is things need to flow in a direction usually. So you usually have your default branch or main. You might have main here, and main moves along. It moves along. Okay, this is the line here, and you know it gets like this. And you might say, cool, we develop the problem with environment branching is it looks like this. Whoops, main, and then maybe we'll have something like dev, stage, and prod. Okay, and these are all different lineages of code, different commit sequences. Okay, and so what ends up having to happen is, you know, you take main, usually you take main, or your main actually may be dev, so you may start at dev. And so let's actually do that to make it a little more simple. So maybe dev is the default branch, and what happens is a feature is created. So the developer starts to work on a feature like this. And then once it's ready to go, it gets merged into stage, okay? All right, so, and then once it is been merged into stage and tested, either one of two things happens. If changes need to be made, then it actually goes back, it actually goes back down to here, and it'll keep going until, it'll go back down to here, back down into dev, and it will then, you know, another feature branch will be made and changes are made, okay? And then you say, okay, we've now done what we needed to do. It'll get moved up to stage. No development will be done in here, none. No development will happen between staging and production at all. And then once this has been tested, this will get moved up to production. All right. The problem with this is, I do like this, but the problem with this is after it's in production, it then needs to be moved back down. It needs to be moved back down to dev so that people can begin to work anew. So it can be kind of weird. Okay. It can be a little bit weird in the way that the workflow works, but everything needs to flow upwards in a environment-based situation. Okay, so development environment has, you know, all the things we're working on in development here. So development environment probably has lots of commits all over. Whoops, probably has so many commits, so many changes, and as things are ready to go, they get moved upwards to staging, and they may get moved back down or back up. You know, it gets kind of weird. Just auto merge stage back to dev or prod. Yeah. So the auto merging and stuff can happen, but it still looks like this. Still the flow is still very similar to this. So again, no development will happen here in between staging and prod. It will only happen, it should only happen between dev and stage, and things get promoted upwards. That is one way to do it. I don't know which, I think that's most like GitLab flow. I think it's most like GitLab flow. And if I look, yeah, like a flow down like this, I think GitLab flow is more like things, works in the fashion that we're talking about here. It can be super annoying. Have you tried green screening whiteboard backgrounds? No, I have not done any of that. That sounds kind of cool. So you can have a digital lightboard effect. Now I got to try it. I didn't even think about that. America also includes South America and Central America. That is 100% true. That's very true. All the Americas, you know, they're all Americas, but United States of America is not South America, but not Central America. Well, no, Yeah, that's America is just North America, but not all of it. Is it okay to make changes on the same branch? So it depends. Yes, it is okay to make changes on the same branch depending on how you and your team decide to work. Some teams will do all their development. Everyone shares the dev branch and new features and stuff go in here. This causes all kinds of issues. I hate this. I despise this because you constantly have to rebase. Oh, not even rebase. You don't even want to rebase. You constantly have to merge and get updates and merge and get updates. And it can be, I got to remember to pull and like, I don't like that. So yes, you can make changes on the same branch. Yes. But a lot of times you don't. A lot of times you're still following the feature branch workflow to make some of those things happen. I just see two branches where default is used for staging and it's test and also deploy for prod. Yeah, I've seen that as well. I've seen it in so many different ways. Yeah, that it can work like that for sure. Still not as bad as branching with SVN. I agree. Merging is absolutely a pain in SVN. So there are, I told you all, there are other methods for being able to manage the history of a repository and the track changes. Some of them are where a file is checked out and it can only be worked on by one person at a time. Again, there are pros and cons to that. I don't like it. I don't think it works for the distributed nature of computing and the way that it's done now. Lots of teams working on the same thing. That would kind of suck if you basically lock the file so that only one person can edit at a time. It works, but is it the best? I don't know. Greetings from Peru. Absolutely good to have you. So, side note, so first off, what is the native language of Peru? Is it Spanish? I asked this because I don't know if anyone follows. I've been following the guy for years. I think his name is like Laoshu 55,000 or whatever on YouTube. He's a dude who learns tons of languages nonstop. He knows so many languages. He goes around and he talks to people in their native language, and it's like the videos are great. I found him years ago, and I watched his videos a lot. But he died like last week or something. Like he had like a heart attack. He's young. He's like 30-something years old. But after seeing his videos, I was like, man, like I really want to learn some languages now, and I'm trying to pick a language right now that I want to learn because I don't know any other language. Obviously, we all took another language in school. I did take Spanish for a number of years, but I don't remember much of it. I was like, Spanish seems like the easiest and the most applicable to my life. But yeah, Japanese, I dove into Japanese like 2 years ago, and it got to be too much real fast. It got to be crazy. It got to be wild. But I do recommend people go look up Laoshu 55,000 on YouTube. You'll find him. The videos they're heartwarming. Not gonna lie, it's pretty dope. It would be pretty cool to be able to interact with as many people as possible. Hola, I know some basics. Everyone knows donde es la biblioteca. Where's the library? I know the bathroom is el baño. I can do a little bit of verb conjugation. I don't know, but one day I'll get there for sure. Almost all Latin America speaks Spanish except Brazil, Portuguese. Okay. And there's a lot of Portuguese channels here in the science and tech section. So maybe, I don't know. Laoshu is a baller, 100%. I was actually surprisingly hurt to find out, someone you don't even know. Surprisingly hurt when I found out he passed. SVN is not bad. Principles of version control. Yeah, it's not bad. It's just Git is just, it's good. It's good. Just compile my own custom Linux kernel for WSL2. That's dope. That's awesome. How long did it take? How long did it take to compile it? But yeah, definitely take a look at some of these different workflows. They can be helpful. Oh, that's pretty fast. 8 minutes is fast. You got a powerful computer. So I think Saludos is like good health and much cariño for me. For para ti, I think it's for you. You're excellent. I think that's what I'm reading there. Kind of helpful, but yeah. Oh, it's only 30 megs in size. That makes That makes a lot of sense. Actually, that is phenomenally amazing for a Linux distro. Yeah, 100%. Yeah. All right. Now I'm gonna hop on the Spanish train for sure. I'm gonna learn Spanish, and I'm gonna really learn Spanish. I'm committing to it right now in front of you. I don't know how long it's gonna take, but I'm gonna learn it. Okay. It's good. Thanks for that. That makes me feel better. That makes me feel, that gives me some confidence. You're gassing me up. I like it. Yeah, definitely sad. It was, super sad actually. Picking up Korean because of him, that's dope. That's dope. I'm gonna spend time learning Spanish first, and then I think I'll probably pick an Asian language next. Like they seem so Spanish. I already understand the structure. When I learned about like the Japanese structure and like trying to understand that, I was like, yo, my brain can't comprehend this. But I think now that I'm a little bit older, a little bit wiser, I think I can tackle it. But later. Korean was like affection care. Okay, dope. I think I gotta just I gotta go and see if I still remember, all of the structures that I feel like I remember, and then just learn some words. We'll see. Do you have copies of my older videos? Yes. ! YouTube, Techno Geek. ! YouTube is where you can get them. They're on there. Korean is probably the simplest to learn. Japanese is so hard to wrap your head around. Yeah, man. Then I learned about kanji, and I thought kanji was just that's how you wrote, and then I found out they were like, that's like the third tier, and there's two other things before it, and I was like, oh man, like I don't know, this is too much for me. I all I know is my ABCs. That's all I knew. But cool. Quick recap. These Git workflows are helpful. The issue with learning these Git workflows, like trying to like memorize them and going through them, it doesn't make any sense. Like you need to contextualize these things, and everywhere you go probably won't use one of these out of the box. I do think it's good to know about feature branches, just understanding feature branch workflow. Don't do any development on the default branch. Create a new branch to do your development and then get it merged back in, because most workflows are based off of this concept. Just understand wherever you go, you need to understand what the workflow is in the organization. Git flow, GitLab flow, GitHub flow. Anyone can make up a workflow and write some documentation about it. I would read about it just to kind of understand some different ways that you could think about creating a workflow. Maybe watch a video on YouTube about all these things. Just to kind of see the different ways that people have decided to do some of these things. There are pros and cons. Sometimes it's very hard unless someone tells you exactly what those pros and cons are, or until you run into them in real time. But I recommend you look it up. But that's the last thing you should do. You should get comfortable with Git first. We've talked about the what's and the whys of Git. We understand that Git is a version control software that allows distributed teams to be able to work in a non-linear workflow, so that you can track the entire history of a project, which is, it's just great. We learned that it was created by Linus Torvalds, the same person who created the Linux kernel. That's pretty dope. Two amazing contributions. We learned that Git is not the same as a Git hosting repository like GitHub or GitLab. Git is the technology. GitHub, GitLab, these are the platforms that utilize Git under the hood to be able to host repositories and give you a centralized place to do some management around them, give you some cool tools as well. Both really cool things. We learned about, the basic Git workflow: Git status, Git add, Git commit, Git push, Git status, Git add, Git commit, Git push. That's the very basics of the workflow that you can use to be able to update the history and record changes that were made. We learned that Git, the way that it transmits these changes, the ways that it tracks these changes, is it creates patch files, it creates patches that take the deltas, the differences between the way things were and the way things need to be, and it exchanges those patches with other people who are using Git, and that helps their repositories to be able to get up to date and to synchronize with yours. We learned how you can, how you can manage these different histories, different lineages of code with different branches. And we learned that you can also tag specific commits if you want to be able to track specific commits as well. We learned how you can, once you've done made some changes with different branches. The way that you get those things back together is through a merge. That's how you fold histories of code on top of each other. So merging these things back together. And when you do that, you can run into different conflicts, which can be very frustrating. We learned about some of the different ways to authenticate with GitHub via SSH or HTTPS. One allows for basic authentication, one doesn't. SSH uses SSH keys. We went over that a little bit. I showed you how to generate an SSH key, and you can use that to authenticate. And we also dove into the GitHub CLI a little bit. Today we learned about rebasing and how do you go back? How do you revert? So reverting allows you to make a brand new commit that does the exact opposite of the commit that you want to revert. So it actually appends to the history, it does not change the history. And you use that specifically for things that have already been pushed to the remote, which is GitHub. Or you can do reset, which allows you to manage things locally. We learned about a soft reset and a mixed reset versus a hard reset. The first two will not mess with your working tree at all. So your changes and your files and things will still be intact if you would like to make some changes. But reset hard will actually mess with your working tree and remove everything, and you know that you've blown away everything, and maybe what you want to do, but maybe not. Rebasing allows you to be able to get a new base underneath the branch that you're currently using to rebase it off of something else. And so what it does is it rewinds back to the first common commit and then applies the updates from the branch you're rebasing off of, and then applies the patches from the branch that you're working on now. And that allows you to get a more linear history. And you know, we also learned that could work great sometimes, but it doesn't work if people are working on the same branch. We also learned that rebasing, those commits do change the history. The commits are no longer the same commits that they were before. They become different commits on a rebase. So just be careful with that. And then we learned about some of the Git strategies, Git workflow strategies that you could use. GitHub Flow, GitLab Flow, feature branches. We just need to be aware that there are different strategies we can use to be able to promote code through a pipeline. That's the goal here, to know what's going on and to have a system in place for being able to promote code to be deployed. Ultimately, that's what you want to do, is deploy code. So yeah, a bunch of different stuff. Techno Geek, thank you so much for the tier 1 sub. Thank you. For 6 months in advance, that's love right there. Do you recommend any good projects or examples to simulate good DevOps workflow working with Git, CI/CD, Terraform? This is like a demo project. SimCity, I do not have one, but I will say that in terms of DevOps, in terms of implementing proper Git workflow strategies for DevOps tools, and specifically for infrastructure, it can be your workflow can be quite different from everyone else's, from the way that software generally is promoted. Things like infrastructure, it's hard to test, to write code to test in the same way. So a lot of times infrastructure actually works backwards, where infrastructure is deployed, the code is written in feature branches, the code is deployed, tested against, and then merged in, kind of like GitHub Flow. Actually, a lot like GitHub Flow. Often like GitHub Flow, you feature branch off of it, you actually you get it working. And honestly, it's like GitHub Flow, but this is actually moved down here sometimes, where you need to see the changes before you can confirm that they're good. You need to see what's actually going to happen. So it can be tough sometimes, but I don't have any good projects or examples. I'm trying to think of some right now. I'm trying to put together some good DevOps projects and stuff, because it's a question that people always have, and I'm trying to present it during this level 2 of the DevOps boot camps. But my list is actually pretty short, to be honest. So I'm definitely something I'm working on for sure. Git always hits you with a reality check when you feel you can get 100%. I've been using Git for years, and I get hit with problems all the time, because again, even if there's something you know now, you might forget it because you may not utilize it for months, years even. And so it does often hit you, gives you a reality check pretty often. Something maybe open source that will make generic changes to more advanced than Hello World. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't have anything good off of off the cuff right now. in the process of trying to transition into software development, got injured at work and need to change their directions. This is one of the best Twitch channels. I appreciate that. I was going to support. I really do appreciate that. Anything I can do to help, let me know. Yeah, we provide a lot of resources. Just, you know, we're going to continue to provide the resources. We know it can be, one, I know it can be tough to, again, go through pre-recorded material. I think pre-recorded material is great. I think that you should be supplementing these things like what you learn here with pre-recorded materials, but it can be tough to learn on your own. There's no context. You can't ask questions. And, you know, hopefully we're a community. All right. Hopefully you love learning with other people as well. But I appreciate those kind words. It does help me continue to move and to continue to do stuff. But yeah, that is that's tracks. That's Git. I promise you, like, in most places, this is more than enough knowledge to be more than adequate with Git. If you can understand the basic, if you can understand what's happening, then you'll know how to look up the tools that you need to get out of it. If you understand how these commits work and that these are just references to patch changes and things, it makes it much easier to be able to get yourself out of jams. But I promise you now probably know much more than a lot of people forget, and there's probably a lot that you could I do want you to, if you have anyone that you can speak to about Git, even if it's someone who's not technical at all, I highly encourage you to take what you've learned here, synthesize it over the next couple days, and start trying to speak with someone and start trying to explain to someone what you know about Git. Not only what it is, but just do your best to just rattle off what you know, because that'll help in an interview 100%. Just being able to speak about these things. The best way to get a role is to learn how to speak about the things that you know. Take this information, talk out loud about it, speak out loud about it. Like, hey, you know, today I learned this and this and this, and see if you can regurgitate it or put it in your own words, or however you want to do it. Be able to speak about the things as you're learning new topics, as you're learning new concepts. Talk about it. The more you talk about it, the more you'll understand it. That's what I found. The more I openly spoke about these things, the quicker I was to fully understand them. Dope, 100%. I'm glad you're on the Discord. It's really good to see you. I appreciate you being here. This format is great and inviting. You know, hey, it's all good because I'm more of an autodidact. I get that. I 100% get that. You know, that's dope. I learned better by trying to teach myself without being told. Yeah, and for some things I do as well, and some things I don't. I feel like I know enough to get myself into trouble. Sure, I go. That's good though. That's good. You know, it's definitely good. Yeah, talking about it definitely helps you find the bits that you're less sure about, for sure. And again, a lot of these things, a lot of people think you need to, like, whenever you do find these things that you're less sure about, everyone thinks you need to go and become a pro at all these things. And I don't necessarily think that's true. I think that the more you can, like, the more that you understand about a topic, the easier it is to pick up the little extras that are on the fringe, and to pick up all the little intricacies of it. It's easier to understand them. So as you add more to the base of your understanding, it gets easier and easier and easier. So, you know, every time you come across something that you don't know, go just read about it real quick, Google it real quick, do it, you know, read a paragraph or two. You don't need to spend a bunch of time, and you may not memorize it that first time. You may need to go back and look at it again, but it'll start to stick into your mind. It'll start to add to your understanding of the thing. Read, write, explain. I love that. That's good. That's really good. That's extremely good. Enough confidence to figure it out is all you. Once you have enough confidence where you know you can figure it out, you've made it. You made it. That's where you need to be, because that is what tech is. You're never gonna know all of it. You're having the confidence to know, like, I know I could. Give me some time. I know I'll figure it out. Like, I know I'll figure it out. But hey, some things gonna take me longer than others, but I know I'll figure it out. Absolutely will see. Good to see you. Go eat. I'm about to go eat after this as well. Also, I don't know if anyone out there's a vegan. I have no intentions of being a vegetarian or vegan. I'm only bringing this up because today I have not had meat at all. A little bit by choice, but like, I'm just trying something out. We got some of these meals and stuff that we made that are are vegetarian. And I was just a little bit too lazy to cook. So now that I've made it to dinner without eating meat, I'm not gonna eat meat. This will be the first day, I want to say, in my life that I have gone without eating meat. And it's just, interesting. I have no intentions of being a vegan, no intentions of being a vegetarian, but I might actively reduce the amount of meat that I do eat. But I'm never gonna stop. Well, maybe I'm never say never, but I'm probably never gonna stop. But cool. Thanks everybody. Tomorrow we're back with Waddle. So if you're interested in learning Linux, if that is which I think everyone should understand, Linux, we'll start a 3-part Linux series starting tomorrow. Come on through. It's called Waddle. Next week we will do a Docker series and a Kubernetes series. And I'm actually probably gonna combine them a little bit, but we're gonna do a Docker series and a Kubernetes series, kind of compacted into next week. And then the following week we start with our level 2 of all of our boot camps. So pipelines, which is DevOps and SRE stuff, Decoded, which is software engineering, and Horizons, which is cloud computing with AWS. We will start that next in 2 weeks from now. So I will update the calendar, get the stuff uploaded, and get everything. What is it called? All of the stuff now has been, the copyright stuff has been resolved. So now I can actually get everything fixed, and you'll see like there's like 25 videos that are about to be launched right now. So cool. Ansible and pinging AWS Windows Server. The error I get is not specified credentials were rejected by the server. What is this? Ugh. AWS Windows Server. Can Ansible manage Windows servers? 2, NTLM. That seems like specified credentials. I don't know. I mean, seems like authentication for sure, but I don't know how to fix that. I don't know. I don't know much about Windows servers at all anymore. I used to use them a little bit, but can't help you, especially when it comes to automation on Windows servers. All right, who's on today? Let's see. Chelsea Bites. I do want to head over to Chelsea Bites, but let's see. Let's see if there's anyone new. Let's see. Ooh. Oh, Callow. We haven't seen Callow in a long time. Let's go say hello to Mr. Callow Creations, doing a little bit of Bitcoin Hub development. I don't know what that is, but that sounds cool. Maybe a little bit of crypto. I like it. Let's go ahead and raid. But pretty chill. He's super chill. Say hello. You can learn a lot from him as well. And yeah, we got to attack. Get your exclamation point attack ready, because he's got some overlays. And hopefully it's working. Last time it wasn't working. So hopefully it's working this time. But cool. Thanks everybody for coming through. Hope you learned something. If you didn't, I'm sorry. But come on through again for Waddle, and then Contained next week, and Harmony next week. But peace out, everyone. I will see you later.